Ladies and gentlemen, when there were threats that Rigathi Gachagua was going to be arrested the moment he touches down at JKIA, he said on a live interview that when he decides to come to Kenya, he will announce the date, the time, and the plane that he will use. And indeed, Rigathi Gachagua did so. Now, eventually, he arrived on Thursday, slightly after noon, the same way he had just stated it in his interviews and also through the press conferences that were held in Kenya here by the DCP party officials. Ladies and gentlemen, at the JKIA, the common mwananchi, the supporters of Riggy were present. The leaders cutting across from Wiper and even DCP were present. The lawyers of Rigathi Gachagua were also there, just in case he was to be arrested, they witnessed the occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, the police officers were also there in large numbers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, during this occasion of Rigathi Gachagua coming to Kenya, all the way from JKIA to his home, there are a few lessons that I was able to borrow from there. And that is what is going to form the basis of this analysis here today. But before I take you through, can if this is the first time you're watching my videos at Mukwa Times, please take a second or two to subscribe, like, and comment, because that is the best support you can always give this channel. Without much wasting of time, allow me to dive into this topic here today. The first thing that I was able to notice this, Rigathi Gachagua is a courageous man. And indeed, the way he says that yeye ni chuma ya zamani, indeed he is. After all those threats from various leaders that the moment he comes here back to Kenya, he will be arrested, Rigathi Gachagua still managed to come on that particular day and even time that he had announced. Not so many leaders can do that. Some of them will even boycott coming, others will even come secretly just to avoid being arrested. But Rigathi Gachagua decided, liwe liwalo, nitafika Kenya. And indeed he was in Kenya and even faced and even talked to some of his supporters who were waiting eagerly for him at the JKIA. So that was a sign of courage. Now, number two, Rigathi Gachagua is the most popular leader right now we have in the opposition. Whether we like it or not, Rigathi Gachagua has assumed that position. That is the most popular leader that we have and actually is the head of the opposition in the country as we speak today. That is very key. And there is no leader as we speak now who can be received the way Rigathi Gachagua was received at the airport. Imagine, everyone expected there would be serious tear gassing there, arrests, even shots, gunshots all over. But people still decided that will come to the airport and welcome Rigathi Gachagua back home. That was a huge demonstration of popularity, something that we had experienced before with Raila Amolo Odinga. Ladies and gentlemen, he assumes officially the top office of opposition in this country, whether people like it or not. Why am I saying that that is a very important office? It's because this will be the voice of the common mwananchi. When taxes are increased, Rigathi Gachagua will be the person expected to give a voice on that. When there will be extrajudicial killings, Rigathi Gachagua will be expected to raise a voice on the same. So therefore, this is one of the most important offices in the country. But most importantly, in 2027, if it happens that Rigathi Gachagua will not be on the ballot, whoever he will say tosha, mark my words, whoever he will lay a hand on, that is the person going to be the president of this country. Why am I saying so? Because from now to 2027, Rigathi Gachagua shall be proven to the people of Kenya, not just the people of Mount Kenya, that he is worth listening to. And I'm telling you, by that time, when he will say someone tosha, Rigathi Gachagua will make it. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, it's very clear that Rigathi Gachagua has assumed the top office in the country. That is the office of the opposition. An office that Raila Amolo Odinga has been holding for 40 years. Now, Rigathi Gachagua has taken it. I don't know how long it's going to take there, but Rigathi Gachagua is already there. Ladies and gentlemen, another thing that I was able to note from Rigathi Gachagua's homecoming, it is that He has political machines around him. People were able to do things that most politicians cannot do when the top leadership is not around. Let me tell you this. The party that had demonstrated what I want to say here, it's the ODM before. But after the ODM had betrayed Kenyans, now no one was left until Rigathi Gachagua came up. Let me give you an example. When Matiang'i leaves the country, goes to the US, everything about Matiang'i stops until he comes back. You can't see rallies. Rarely do people talk about him. And now, when he's around, is when you see even very many people around him. People want to talk to him. People want to demonstrate how much loyal they are to him. But now, Rigathi Gachagua, he left the country 6 weeks ago. Despite leaving the country, the DCP party was conducting these huge rallies across the country, especially in Nakuru, like Kingpin counties. Ladies and gentlemen, apart from that, the organization that was done to ensure that the welcoming of Rigathi Gachagua has happened successfully shows that there were political machines present in the country. And of course, I can't end this video without mentioning Methu and of course Cleophas Malala. These people held press conferences right, left, and center. They led in campaigns across the country. They were tear gassed across the country whenever they went to have rallies, whichever places they did. Ladies and gentlemen, some of them, like Jenny Gihara, were also arrested. A very clear sign that despite these people being intimidated, they still decided to organize this homecoming for Rigathi Gachagua, despite the threats from government to arrest them. Actually, personally, I thought even some of these leaders would not find themselves in their homes by today morning. But fortunately, they were all at the airport. A clear indication that there are political machines around Rigathi Gachagua. And actually, whether people like it or not, that makes him a very powerful leader in the country as we speak today. And if people are not careful, some of these young leaders are going to take over the leadership of this country very, very soon. Very, very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, another thing that was very clear from the homecoming is this. Rigathi Gachagua is the official kingpin of the mountain region. Right now, there's no leader in Mount Kenya who can call for people to come out and then they come out the way they did today. There's no leader in the current generation as we speak from Mount Kenya. People can take risk for the way they did for Rigathi Gachagua. Why am I saying this? Uhuru Kenyatta is the kingpin who was actually ordained before. But the fact is now not active in politics. So the person who is active right now is Rigathi Gachagua. And now that he's the only active leader that is top of Mount Kenya politics, is the official kingpin of Mount Kenya. There's only one thing that is left for him. One thing that's left for Rigathi Gachagua. Winning the by-elections that he has put candidates there. Starting with that one of Embu. And I've done an extensive video on that. And I said that the moment he clinches that seat with his DCP party, then Rigathi Gachagua locks the mountain completely and puts the key in his pocket. I don't know what is your take, ladies and gentlemen, but those are the lessons I was able to borrow from the Rigathi Gachagua's tour back to Kenya. I mean, his homecoming. See you next time for more videos.